Hello, everyone. How's it going? Um, Sorry for that long delay. Uh, Trying to have a discussion panel show and taking 15 minutes to get started. So, my bad. There's just something strange going on. Apparently, the StreamYard is telling Abby she needs a laptop or a desktop or something. So, I figured that might take whatever's happening might take a little while to sort out. So, I might as well just hop on here and get started. I can drop the invite link. Bella, trying to talk. You gotta scratch your goddamn neck so hard. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hopefully, we are looking forward to having a discussion today because the last few weeks I've been finding that we haven't really been having as many people able or willing to join us for a conversation. So it's been mostly just conversation between Abby and I, which is okay. I'm just hoping that we can have some of you guys join us again. What's up, Jacqueline? You saying sorry? Can't stop. I'm off to bed, but if the stream's still going when I wake up, I'll join the chat then. Good night. Take care. Thanks for popping in, saying hello. Sorry we had to start a little bit late tonight. Abby's been a bit busy taking care of the baby, and she was cleaning her oven, I guess, earlier today, which is something actually something I found I need to be doing soon myself. So, and I've just been giving Abby a bit of grace, considering she lost someone in her family there last week. So, no need to be rushing to get the show going. Abby's saying it won't let her in. What the fuck? So I'm not sure. I don't know. I guess I'll just have to hold down the fort for now. You tired as fuck, XD? Well, maybe if you uh, need to be going to take a nap or going to sleep now, no worries. I'd rather you take care of yourself than just hang out for whatever reason. Not sure how engaging I'll be tonight with discussion topics. Maybe to start, I think would be a good idea to. I wanted to put up Yonina's fundraiser while we have a bit of a delay here. Our friend Yonina Israel, is that yeah? She's having a little bit of a need of assistance at the moment. So let's please help Yonina and Empress move safely to Chicago. I wanted to do this at the beginning of the stream rather than at the end because one thing I learned is that people don't necessarily watch all the way to the end. So if you're going to do something like a GoFundMe, it's actually better to share it at the beginning. So please hear our cry. Don't ignore this, please. If you can help her out, she's nowhere near having met her goal. So let's help her out. So she is facing a moving emergency and needs to surrender her current property by June the 2nd. Very much quickly approaching. It is May 19th to a relinquishment agreement. She receives monthly SSI payments, which has made it impossible to save enough for the move and storage costs. Anyone who's been living on disability knows the struggle. I need to relocate to Chicago because she has no family, friends, or support system in her current area. Completely reasonable reason. Earlier this year, her mother passed away, and living has been very difficult for her since her mother's passing. And so, along her disabled cat Empress, who she's raised since she was a kitten in 2019, alongside her is her cat. She has a codependent. She is almost 7 years old and has been with her for her entire life. The last video that she has of Empress is with her mother when Empress was just a kitten. So there's a lot of a lot of emotional rawness at the moment. Let's help Yonina with her grieving, and I'm sure some funeral expenses are not helping with the moving costs. So the funds raised will help cover her moving expenses, storage, and possibly a pet hotel for Empress until she finds a place for them. Her aunt Sandra would allow her to stay with her, but she is tragically, deathly allergic to cats. So she just wants to make this move as stress-free for her cat as possible. And thank you to everyone who chooses to help her and show kindness in her time of need. Your support reminds her that there are still people in the world, and Empress and Yonina will always remember what you did for us. Okay, so please, Yonina is a good person. Anyone who knows her, if you can do anything for her, I would appreciate it. She would appreciate it. What's up, Abby? Welcome.
Hello. Can you hear me good?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, I figured out why it wouldn't let me in. But I'm here now.
Welcome. Good to see you.
I don't know who's in the chat, but hello, chat. I know Jacqueline had to go to sleep. That's all I saw.
That's right. I haven't actually quite said hello to everyone individually, so here, let's go. Thank you, CBC, first one in the door. Michael Pan's here. What's up, Michael Pan? Sebastian, been a little while. Thank you for joining us. Sean, and of course, XD, Rondo, and Extra Cola. What's up?
Peace, 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 fam. Hi, Unc. I'm multitasking today. You can hear me fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I still have the baby, so I have to stay in the front until they get situated enough to come get him.
Where is the baby? Is he lurking behind the couch over there watching TV?
Yeah, he's in his high chair thing. I'm making him some green beans and carrots.
Nice, yum yum.
Hopefully he'll eat them because he doesn't really like to eat food that much.
Well, that's right. You're telling me he's like 2 years old, still drinking the milk.
He's 17 months and he's a milk baby.
What's up, old man Barker? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, OMB. So, there's a lot to talk about, man. A lot.
Yep.
I do have my laptop right here, so I could pull stuff up. You know, last time I couldn't pull anything up, so I made sure I have my little section over here. So my laptop's over there. I'm in here cutting up stuff.
Nice. It's a nice kitchen you got there.
Thank you. It's really small, but I try and make it work.
It looks bigger than mine, but maybe not that much. If I were actually be able to be in it, I might be able to see if it's any bigger than mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure because you're in an apartment. It's kind of small for a house, I think.
Yeah, but for this apartment size I have a pretty decent sized kitchen. So a lot of people who've been in my room here are always complimenting me, like, you got a nice setup. It's funny how relative it is, because I always look at all these other people living in their houses up the street and stuff, and I'm like, they got a nice setup. I don't know what I got.
We all want something we don't have, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, thank you,
understand.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much. On behalf of Yonina.
Oh, thank you. I only caught the tail end of it.
Yeah, she's been. I remember she'd set that up. I think a month or two, maybe even longer. She set that up a while ago, not super long ago. But she's been going through some stuff. She's had her mother passed away, so solidarity for Yonina. You know.
Oh man, that's hard, man.
Yeah.
That is a hard realization to come to, that you're a motherless child.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a matter of time for us all, and
Matter.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it doesn't make it any easier when it happens. I'm sure hasn't happened to me yet. Knock on wood.
No, it doesn't. My first cousin passed away. The funeral was Saturday, and my mom keeps like forgetting and remembering, and it's like she grieves over again each time. It's
That's
really sad to watch.
that's awful. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. So
She'll hopefully she'll be through it soon. Maybe that's like the double-edged sword, blessing in disguise. Maybe if the memory that's working against her at the moment, potentially the memory problem may actually work in her favor if enough time passes and she can forget to remember in a way, you know. But that's kind of a almost a harsh kind of thing to say, right?
right, but for her sake, it's not that harsh, right?
Right. She would maybe be benefit from the peace of mind, you know.
Correct. So I do have some things I want to share. Black Life is like, make sure you talk about this. Um, it's just a lot of. I think the chaos has to be the point.
Oh yeah, at least part of it.
Um, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to start with let's see. I'm just going to pull up whatever comes up and we'll play it.
Um, Once you get that pulled up, when we can get round to it, we try and get the link pinned to the chat if people want to join us.
Oh, I pinned it already.
Okay, good, good.
Yeah, that was the first thing I did. That's how I realized, oh, I have to go in through YouTube. I was trying to go in through StreamYard app. It was not letting me in.
One of these days, we gotta figure out if there's a way to give me some kind of access so that I can. I still can't pin it for whatever reason.
Hmm. I don't know.
All in good time.
Let me see. Um, you keep talking. I'm trying to pull some stuff up.
No worries. Well, I'm glad you've got a few things that you were looking to talk about because I have not exactly been. I got a couple of things, but it's kind of tricky for me because, like, usually what I end up wanting to talk about or what I find interesting is more like the news and the politics. So I'm not sure if that's what we're trying to be doing on Tuesday as much. But, one thing I found was, what's up, Fiddleford? Good to see you. Holiday.
How Fiddleford?
I saw that China says the world's first offshore wind-powered underwater data center has entered full operation. Houses 2,000 servers and 24 megawatt subsea AI facility uses ocean water for passive cooling and offshore wind for power. Yay!
Yay!
What's up, Michael Pan? Thank you for joining us.
We're far. We're
Hey,
far
Mikael,
behind.
Johnson. Hey, Abby. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
It's been crazy for me, but trying to recover.
Oh, crazy! What's going on?
S- personal issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Ugh,
hang in there. You know, hopefully
those
those.
are
yeah,
always something else, aren't they?
yeah. Trying. It's more like work related stuff. So trying to take care of that.
Right.
Hopefully as soon as possible. But
That
yeah, today's chaos. I feel glad that it needed to happen because without it, most people um have not been informed. You know what I mean?
you mean
And
like the bigger picture is in chaos, like not so much your personal stuff.
I
Wait,
mean,
today is what day?
I'm
This
just
whole
saying, like
thing.
today, like I'm so glad. Like, yeah, so basically, I'm saying is I'm glad Donald Trump is president of the United States of America to wake up a lot of people because before Trump,
Oh,
most Americans have not been awake, have not really like woke up to a lot of issues that have been going on for several decades
So
and
it's glad in the
counting.
sense you're glad that people are maybe if they have to learn the hard way to learn it all, at least maybe some learning is taking place. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes. Somebody got to learn the hard way because I really think, to be honest, long time ago, if more people became attuned to what was going on, in our country when it comes like whether it's like healthcare, climate change, racial justice, other issues. I don't think we'll be here. I don't think we'll be at where we're at today if it weren't for Trump. And unfortunately, because in America, we're too comfortable with being comfortable with the status quo. I'm not saying individuals, I'm saying collectively speaking, until it hits them hard financially.
Yeah, I can agree with that. In Canada too, this is something that I observe anecdotally in my own personal life. You know,
Right, Canada, right. I know Canada is very close to America, and I just wish Canada did not replicate America's model, and that's very
you, you
unfortunate.
yeah,
who is
Replicating?
no. It starts with a C.
I
Some
see.
guy in is like the governor of somewhere.
In
They're
Canada?
comparing him to Trump. You don't
You
know who I'm
mean,
talking about?
in
are you,
Canada or in the
In
States.
Canada.
are you
Oh,
talking about like Trudeau, right?
No,
oh,
in Canada.
Oh,
maybe Mark
Canada.
Carney, the
Corny, more corny, yeah.
Corny, that's his name.
Corny, yes, corny.
So
Carnival
tell me,
Carney.
I don't tell me what's going on with that. They're like making Lego videos and everything. I
Oh,
didn't have time to look it up. I said I'll just ask Michael.
I haven't seen Lego videos, but he's been a disaster, like Great Reset kind of prime minister. You know,
Hmm.
like the thing about liberals are better than conservatives. It's ridiculous. You look at how Carney's, um, he's like really not doing anything to fix the country. You know, at least the
Right.
housing bubble seems to be sort of popping, but I'm not really confident that any of the underlying issues are being resolved. But a lot of people are kind of blaming him for the trade war. A lot of
Mhm.
ridiculous right winger Canadians are thinking you got to make peace with Trump and everything and get back to business and stuff. And but they're also kind of trying to blame everyone right now is really stuck on the flaw of trying to blame the single person in power
Mhm.
for the gen like the the conditions that were all that were like inevitable with the global economy and everything. There's nothing that any, like individual leaders of different nations could have really done to prevent this from happening. You know,
Yeah.
but
And
he's
he's a
an awful person to be in charge with all of this happening. Yeah,
Corny. Yeah. And so Corny's a liberal, right, Michael?
yeah. And he was actually he's a good example of democracy being subverted by the so-called Democrats, because the liberals are like the Canadian version of the Democrats in the
Mhm.
U.S. And so um, they kind of rigged the last election to get him into power. In that it was expected for Pierre Poilievre, the conservative leader, he was more favored in the polls and everything. It was looking he was going to win, and then Trump started this like Trump and everything, and all of a sudden, even though the liberals, everyone was like really ready to be done with the liberals because Trudeau was a disaster. Somehow the liberals managed to get right back into power because the way that the monarchy actually influences our system here, the British monarchy, and then people don't really understand how in a moment of crisis like this, the king basically has a right to kind of put someone in power. So
Right.
the liberal caucus they had a vote as to who they were going to pick for the person to be the leader, but then less than half of the actual liberal members voted, or their votes were allowed to be counted as eligible. So they, in that way, I say they rigged it so that they could put him in to be the person to take over from Trudeau.
Mhm. Right. I
And then they
see.
did a snap election, um, which is the kind of thing that to me is not very democratic to be all like, oh, we see that if we make the election happen in the next couple of months, that we have a much better chance of winning, and if we let it happen when it's supposed to happen.
Hmm. Hey, that's a cool name, Grouchy Socialists.
You should follow them.
Nice.
So I wanted to like start it off with very positive, I guess,
Hmm.
for the nihilists in Michael. And what you said, Michael Penn, MP, like was a really good segue. So let me just play it.
Yeah, sir. Nice haircut, Abby. When did you get a haircut?
I don't have a haircut.
I mean, it looks different, your hairstyle.
It's pinned up. Oh, I
Pinned
did
up.
cut the top. I cut the top. It's pinned up in the back though. But you couldn't
Yeah.
hear that, could you?
No, I like your dress too.
Thank you.
You
Appreciate
going?
you.
Yeah. Are you like going? Are you like celebrating something special for tonight?
No,
No.
it's just an easy dress I could throw on.
I don't know if we have sound. If you just tried to play it, I didn't hear anything.
I
It's
know.
not.
I think I might have to stop it and start over.
Yeah, you might have to refresh the page or something.
Or
Oh, that was strange.
I wonder if it's because I have my laptop muted, but I have it muted for myself. It shouldn't be muted for you, right?
I don't think that should be it. No.
Let me see. Let me mute this one.
I still can't hear anything.
Okay. So I will stop it and start it over.
Yeah, try and refresh the web page. I think that might clear it. Technical difficulties, everyone. Bear with us.
Yep, my bad.
Sorry about the reverb. Uh, that's like often when you have a microphone pointed at a speaker.
Nothing.
Sorry. Michael Pan was sharing the link in the back. No, I still don't hear nothing. That
Nothing.
sucks.
Is that guy on YouTube? Anyways, you could download his link.
Can I just send it to you then?
Yeah, you can send it to me. Maybe I can try and play it, or you can like Michael's saying. I'll bet you there's a strong chance that he's also on YouTube. So,
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, and Michael, I know this is your specialty about healthcare
Freaking
because I know
hell.
Canada has universal healthcare.
right.
This is very interesting because in 2026 in America, yeah, in America in 2026, we're still debating about if healthcare should be treated as a human right or not.
Right.
Despite despite medical debts piling up every year, interest being accumulated on it, and it's like there's never an end. There's like never an end, a never ending debt. I'm sorry, never ending medical debt spiral.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's long past time for this issue to be rectified, and it just seems like this is very sadistic what's happening. They're not really. They know full well that it would be more efficient to just make this a human right.
Right.
Instead, they want to make like a wholesale attack on human rights as like a concept in the first place. That seems to be what the Trump administration's been up to lately.
Yeah. And this was before. I'm gonna make this clear. This is before Donald Trump became president. With the medical debt piling up every year
You
with
might
no
want
end
to
in sight.
mute up Abby with the cutting board. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt,
Oh,
Michael.
you can hear that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can hear the
It's
cutting board
bit
moving.
coarse sounding on the ear.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, I was saying that like it's just like nothing new, really, right? With medical debt never ending in sight, regardless of political parties in power, and this been in the making. Going back to like several decades back, since the 1940s, to be exact. In 1948, when Harry Truman was president, do you know what support for universal healthcare, Michael, was? It was about 75% of Americans agreed that, yeah, the government definitely should provide universal healthcare, right?
Wow, I
But
didn't know
when you
that.
adjust for like racial differences that time, the support for universal healthcare dropped from 75% to like 45%.
Michael,
Yeah,
you know
the
why
white
we don't have universal health
Yo, I
care?
know, oh, of course, due to anti-black racism, it's very obvious. And
It's
also
very
other
sad.
very sad also because unions too play a big role in healthcare insurance companies, some doctors and healthcare institutions.
That's an angle I haven't quite appreciated. Maybe do you think unions themselves are not exactly they have a conflict of interest
Hmm.
in accomplishing the um, healthcare for all?
Right. Yes. Oh yeah, unions have been a major barrier. Like I used to work for a government agents used to work for a government agency, so you definitely know for sure unions play a role, right? It's like federal, state, local, or municipality. The unions are too comfortable with their health insurance coverage because they said they fought so hard, to earn to make health insurance tied through their employment, and it creates a trap for people who want to leave their jobs but can't afford to leave a toxic job because of health insurance related reasons, especially young. I know young people in America or okay are like, hey, you know what? Why should health insurance be tied through employment? Whereas like the older folks, like the baby boomers, silent generations, and some Gen Xers, they know healthcare is broken in this country. They know the healthcare system is broken. I'm sorry, the healthcare financing system is broken in this country, but they don't want to eliminate it, and so it creates a challenge
Yeah, and
to move
that's
forward.
that's that's sad because the boomers, a lot of them have recognized that they had more benefits. They benefited more from a welfare system, welfare state kind of thing in
Hmm.
their day, and they maybe complain about younger people not working as hard as they or not having as hard as them, but it's
Right.
actually the opposite.
Exactly. It's opposite. Yeah, it's just right. It's just like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true that young people have more opportunities now than their parents' generation did. However, the gap is still it's the gap has like widened, between in the last 40, 50 years, between the rich and poor, and of course between generations, right? And let me
Yeah.
ask you this, Michael. So I know Americans are complaining about healthcare in America. Do you recommend that all Americans to move to Canada for free healthcare, or do you think that's going to create like a supply issue?
Well, that's not feasible. There's not enough room up here for all the Americans. We actually we depend on the Americans for a lot of things like food production. So yeah,
A lot of Californians go to Mexico on for like dental care.
Right. And I heard it's making the Mexicans very upset. Now the Mexicans like, oh my gosh, now we gotta put everything in English because the Californians demand not only like the language to be spoken in English, but also the food. Like the food's being gentrified in Mexico or
right.
commercialized.
Fiddleford saying Americans don't receive free healthcare. I think you mean unless they become dual citizens. I'm not sure.
No, it's
Yeah.
just cheaper.
Cheaper
It's
to
cheap.
go overseas. Right. Even though
It's
they're not.
cheaper to. Well, that's not overseas, but it's cheaper to go over there for dental care than it is
Mhm.
to even use your dental insurance here.
Right, in America, right, right.
Dental insurance sucks.
Yeah, it does. It really sucks. The private insurance corporations are pretty much are junk in this country. And so many people complain about, Aetna, United Healthcare, Cigna Connect. I have Cigna, no problem so far, but I did experience some issues with Cigna, in terms of like getting my information correct. I'm sorry, the eligibility.
What is that?
information correct.
Sigma or Cigna? What?
Oh yeah, Cigna.
Not
Yeah, it's a private health insurance.
sure.
It's through Obamacare. Yeah,
Okay.
it is a it is outside. I'll say this. It's a mess because every year Americans have to renew their health insurance plans to qualify for the subsidies, and more Americans have actually dropped out of Obamacare because Congress did not automatically renew the subsidies. Like it was like a couple years ago, it was very generous. It's like you only had to pay like less than, I think it was like less than 8% of your income.
Right. But, the midterms are supposed to be coming up soon. So do you think that healthcare is going to be an issue that's going to affect the Trump administration, the Republican Party in general?
I'll say this. I know the Americans are upset with Republicans who refused to extend the subsidies for Obamacare. Healthcare always has been an issue, always, regardless like what century we're in, right? There's a divide between the baby boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials when it comes to making healthcare human right, whether it's like Medicare for all, government regulating, healthcare prices, and so on. And so there's like no clear.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that boomers have pensions, and along with their pensions, their health insurance continues throughout
Yes, throughout their life, right? Once they
throughout
reach
their
like
life.
for life, right? If right, once they like no longer, once they become deceased, meaning if they reach like old age and then they pass away the next day. Oh yeah, health insurance, stays with them. But for young people, unfortunately, we don't have that kind of luxury anymore.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
it's very.
thinking, as far as the midterms, as much as it's shitty, thinking maybe from a realist perspective, I don't really see it as being a major, as
Issue.
much of an issue as it should be. I think there's too much going on with the crisis in with Iran and trade
Mm-hmm.
war with China and stuff. I think the economy is going to be like the only thing that people are really going to care about this election. Um, the American
Right.
first stuff, they were then Israel and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
this. What's happened with the MAGA movement and the right wing in the U.S.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it's
they really have they're trying to put their foot down and say this shit with Israel has to stop.
mhm. Right, right. And I want to speak to about because when you say economy, Michael, actually, healthcare is part of the economy,
Yeah,
right?
I,
It's
you
not
know,
separate.
I think you're misjudging um, that because there is a very strong Christian nationalist population here, and there even have pastors talking about Jesus promised, that promise stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the ballroom. Like it took 200 years, but it's finally being built. And I'm like, what is he talking about? Like
Right.
they actually act like this. It's an extension of the temple in Israel or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy shit. And I could send it to you.
and it's just a
Um,
coincidence that Hitler also insisted on a ballroom, whatever for
Yeah.
forget what it's called, the Bundestag or whatever. I don't know if that's even the right building, but I'm just that was wild to me to find out that they have their dog whistle, Nazi dog whistle, in the form of architecture or whatever this time. As if we haven't seen enough signals yet.
Mm-hmm. But
let
yeah,
me send it to you.
yeah. So I was able to open the link. I could hear it. I could hear the video very clearly.
Sure. You sent me a link. So if Abby's link isn't going to be working, then maybe we can go to yours.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to
No,
explain?
he said you could hear it clear. I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You sent me
But
the.
I wanted to send you the link
Oh,
of the pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's some crazy shit. If you you got
Hey
to hear it for
Abby.
yourself. I can't even articulate how
Hey Abby.
crazy it
Hey,
sounds.
yeah, Abby, I have to ask. Is that your granddaughter talking? I hear the noise.
That's it's a baby, yes.
Oh, okay. I get. I guess you're making her food, dinner.
He
Oh, it's a he.
he doesn't talk, but he just I don't know. He does that all day.
Yeah.
I'll mute.
At least he's making happy sounds right now.
Hmm.
So let me see if this will work here. Just give me a minute. Or if it's not too long, I'll just let it play, okay?
Gen Z has a favorable view of socialism and communism. Who's teaching this to our kids? You are.
You guys hear it?
Because when people say, can I
I hear it
please
well.
have
Yep.
life-saving medical treatment without astronomical life-changing debt? And you say, no, you can't. That's actually socialism, and that's scary and bad. And they say, can I at least have higher education without astronomical life-changing student loans? And you say, no, that's socialism as well, and that's bad and scary. Housing, that's
I noticed it's been like cut off.
wealthy,
I'm sorry.
and bombing people overseas is all socialism, and that's bad. Yeah, going to
Sorry, I muted myself. Sorry, sorry about that little lag there. You're saying something, Michael?
Oh yeah, I was saying that the volume got cut off as the guy was talking. Do you think that was
You
like
want me
on
to?
purpose?
I'm not sure. I think some of
Yeah.
that is what we call throttling,
Hmm.
and some of it is shitty capitalist infrastructure that they intend to not really fix. You know? Let me just rewind it a bit and see if it does it again.
Hmm.
bad. And they say, can I at least have higher education without astronomical life-changing student loans? And you say, no, that's socialism as well. That's bad and scary. Housing, that's socialism. Affording groceries, that's socialism. Using your tax dollars for anything besides tips for the ultra wealthy and bombing people overseas is all socialism, and that's bad. Then yeah, motherfuckers are going to say they're socialist. Never been a better selling point for socialism than making us, the younger generation, live through end stage capitalism. The older generation is the best marketing for socialism that we have ever had. Oh, Gen Z has a favorable.
Mhm. No lies detected. I feel like that
Yeah,
was
he's
pretty
telling.
spot on.
Yep, yep. He's spot on,
Oh,
100% correct. What he told is like real, like no lies at all. Nothing new, right? Because it's been like I said, these like these talking points have been real like nothing new in this country. What's new is because social media is now exposing it, from the past, right? And it's becoming a reality in today's politics, and it's definitely not going away. Not going away anytime soon, because young people in America are fed up with maintaining the status quo, and pretty much are saying that incremental changes without teeth or protections is not sufficient to really like make deep changes in this country.
well, it's especially ridiculous when, like, the Gen Z has no future. I mean, millennials don't have
Hmm.
a future either. They've taken
Right.
it all away from us. But with Trump, like having, especially with, like the, just going to hat in hand to China and everything, and being humiliated in front of the world. And what are they going to have to do to protect the economy from self-inflicted damage of picking a fight that they can't really win? They're going to have a kind of socialist, like the free market unleashed is not solving this problem. They need
It's
to,
not.
yeah, exactly.
Right, right, exactly. And it's interesting because long time ago, going back to 19, I feel it's maybe like late 1960s or early 60s, MAK told told Americans, "Hey, we can't afford to continue to maintain militarism, racism, and materialism because greed is going to do more harm than it's going to do any good to us." And what were Americans' response to MLK? They told him, You got to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps." And MLK said, "We don't have any bootstraps to begin with in the first place because of chattel slavery. And the Europeans who came to America took the land away from foundational Black Americans." And so now we're in 2026. Americans have said, to foundational Black Americans, yo, you guys were right long time ago. We should have listened to you about, hey, we need to provide universal health care. We need to have a better food system, and so on. And foundational Black Americans are telling I'm sorry, foundational Black Americans are telling Americans it's too late already. So now Americans, you guys are gonna have to take responsibility to get us out of this mess, because you guys were responsible for maintaining the system in the first place, but not foundational Black Americans, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and you know, and what really frustrates me is that when I used to participate in, like, the fight for universal healthcare, older people are not very flexible. They're stuck, in the middle, and they really didn't want to try something new. I was more like, let's think outside the box. Let's see what we could get done to fight for universal healthcare by not voting for two political party candidates. You know what I mean? Like ranked choice voting. I'm not saying in Canada you have ranked choice voting, Michael.
Right. I'm not sure if that's really the best kind of solution. Like that's sort of reforming the broken electoral system attempt.
Right. Yeah. And
I can't remember specifically, but
hmm
there there's already been discussions about how like the loopholes in ranked choice voting that will be exploited. So I don't. That's just putting another band-aid on a system that is needs to be reformed. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, because the people in the rural areas of America want to maintain that tiny piece of the electoral college, even though they don't have a lot of like wealth, but they want to maintain their, white privilege.
Well, I think the ranked choice voting does nothing to solve the problem about money in politics.
hmm
And I think
Right.
No, it
we all
doesn't.
agree on that.
Yes. And it's like, to be honest, when I think about
Oh,
2026, yeah, when I think about
sorry.
2026, oh no, that's okay. When I think about 2026, I think like, hey, I think that we're going backwards, and it's like never a never-ending insight to the problems, right? It's always like to be continued. When you watch a lot of TV shows, right? They always say to be continued because the conflict has not been resolved. Like, when
Yeah.
is the conflict going to be resolved? You know what I mean?
When is it ever going to be enough?
So
I ask that question periodically.
Like, right? Like,
so
I'm
I
saying,
have
like,
some secondhand embarrassment for you guys.
uh-huh.
You know the House Speaker Michael Johnson. You know
Yes,
he's from Louisiana.
yes,
Well, he just out and out said he said, well, the salaries for Congress people have remained stagnant since I think he said 2009 or something.
really, 2005.
So
Wow.
Right,
so
but they
hold
make
on,
all
there's
that
more.
insider trading.
Well, they make a lot of money through insider
Hold
trading,
on,
and also they get
huh?
like donations, revolving door.
They don't
Wait,
need their
let me
salaries to go
finish.
up. Yeah, go
Let me
ahead.
finish.
Okay.
So he said, so it's only fair that that Congress people are allowed to like compensate their salary with trading.
Right.
And I'm like, what? So they're just it's just so blatant now. It's almost like they're like we know you can't do anything,
Mm-hmm.
so now we're letting the cat out of the bag and to see how we're gonna respond, I guess. And if we don't respond, it's over with.
Right. And
Well,
to be honest, Abby, it's like nothing new really with members of Congress raising their own salaries, every year. Going back to the Reagan era.
Tasha.
Yeah, but it's crazy. I tell you, it's very crazy. I think I believe that I think there's like what one member of Congress. He almost made like close to $1 million in salaries.
wow. Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. Most members of Congress, they don't put in a lot of hours in work, even though they get making like comfortable salaries. Plus they get a pension, health insurance, and the health insurance they get is very similar to the federal employees' health benefits. Like
Okay.
when they see doctors, nurses, and other healthcare providers in Walter Reed, they pay almost like nothing because it's subsidized by the taxpayers.
Hmm.
Right. And it's funny because members of Congress complain, oh, Oh, what Obama did, or I'm sorry, what Bernie Sanders, other revolutionaries are trying to propose. That's socialism, right? But then Congress, well, I'm like, members of Congress, you guys get a free healthcare. Don't you think that's not socialism? Because it's essentially the same thing, right?
Well, it's not socialism because it's a double standard. It
Hmm.
would be if it was more universal. Universal,
Right, right. But when I say socialism for members of Congress, I mean it's through taxpayers. Like they're
right?
getting subsidized by the taxpayers to
It's
get.
is done through the mechanism that that would be applied if we applied it in a broader sense to everyone. It would be through the taxes that we would fund that kind of thing, right?
Right, right. Yeah, you know exactly, right? And think about what the guy said in the video, how Americans say, "Hey, can we go to higher education without student loans?" And the opponent says, "No, the student loans have to be part of the financing system of higher education." And I'm not surprised that I'm seeing more Americans, leaving the states, to go to Europe and other countries for free, or to study for, or study to get higher education for at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, that's a problem that tends to get kind of forgotten a little bit, but it's happening all the time in the background. I'm not sure if it's more people leaving the states than are coming in, but there is like a greater and greater number of people leaving for good than ever before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, like 2/3 last time I checked. But then I won't be sorry if it's going to accelerate up to 75%, right? Because before Trump, yeah, there were like maybe like a third Americans who thought about leaving the states or already had left the states, right? But once Trump came to office, it accelerated the trend for Americans living in the states accelerated very quickly.
Oh, sorry, I'm seeing Abby
Hmm.
is saying the link has disappeared. I'm gonna
Disappeared.
drop it back in the chat there.
Yeah. So like I said, so when I'm seeing like more Americans leaving the states to go to Europe or other countries to study for free, they're only doing that temporary. Then once they get their degree without debt, then they're gonna come back to look for work. So it's easier for them to do that than for Americans just to study, get accumulate so much debt, and then they have a hard time finding work.
Is that
Yeah.
maybe like a reversal? Like it used to be that the people from the rest of the world would try and come to the states to get their schooling,
Oh
and
yeah, it used to be
they had
like that.
debt.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes, it used to be like that. People from India, China, Singapore, Pakistan, and Europe and several other countries. Yes, but with Donald Trump, cutting funding. Yeah, Donald Trump, cutting funding for higher education, research, science. Yes, it's causing a brain drain.
and
And
vilifying. He's creating a chill effect because what kind of immigrants want to come here for schooling when they're at risk of being deported, kind of thing.
right, exactly.
Well, well, they've just applied for like over 1,000 H1.
V visas.
Yes, and so like what's that guy O'Leary, that Shark Tank guy?
Yes, O'Leary. I know who you're talking about.
He's full of shit talking about how many jobs he's gonna create, and those jobs are all gonna be
Low paying jobs.
low paying jobs for people from out of the country.
Right.
Like
You
we're
know, I
stupid.
hmm I
Kevin and
bet
Ronnie.
O'Leary is from Michael's country, Canada.
Yeah, Kevin
He's from
O'Leary.
Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not one of our best.
hmm what I bet too. I
They're
bet
not
O'Leary.
bringing their best. I tell you that.
Right. I bet that O'Leary dare not give up his Canadian citizenship to become fully American. I know. I'm pretty sure he has dual citizenship because he knows that if America fails, he has like a backup country he can always go back to.
Well, I don't know, 'cause Canada's pretty much a failed country already. So
Right, right. Well, what I'm saying is that O'Leary knows that Canada has free healthcare, so he doesn't have to worry about going into medical debt, even though he's very wealthy.
right, someone like O'Leary can make all their money in the states, and then if he ever has a health problem, he'll just take a plane trip back home. That's not really his home anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. Oh, I mean O'Leary. I remember. Oh, O'Leary. It was on the Sark thing. I remember. Oh, I never liked him on Sark thing. Like he was very rude, hostile, and he said, "I don't want to make a deal. I'm sorry. I just don't think it's going to be a good fit in my financial interests." Right? And
Yep.
yeah, he just looks like he definitely looks like to me, he sounds more like Donald Trump.
I was just about to say, there's not much difference between him and Donald Trump. Maybe you could make an argument that O'Leary's a little bit smarter.
Right.
I just think Trump does, like, his style is very much like Bush, whatever, like acting, even if he may be kind of stupid, whatever, by leaning into it, people tend to assume he's more of a madman or an idiot than he actually is.
Right, right. Because Donald Trump, yeah, because Donald Trump is about making things simple. When I say make things simple, he doesn't communicate abstract information to the folks. He uses like very simple language for his supporters to understand, even though his policies are not going to benefit him, and they still have not benefited them as of today, right?
Right. So as far as like I don't want to go around calling him a genius or anything, but there was some skill involved in the way that he played the Pied Piper, and everyone somehow magically decided that it was in their best interest to vote for Trump instead of Harris and everything. Got to give a
Right.
little bit of credit where credit's due, in that if he was as much of a fool as everyone makes him out to be, that would never have worked, and it somehow did.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Then again, you can get into the stuff about like rigged voter machines and stuff, and then that would invalidate any, like, you could say, you can make the argument it did not work, and they just lied to the public that it did. That's the main problem with the election system, or whatever, is the
Yeah,
voting fraud problem, or whatever. You
it
cannot
is.
really, like, there's all the other problems about, like, capitalist democracy is not real democracy kind of thing. But at the end of the day, if you got voter machines and everything you can't even trust, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the becomes like a primary contradiction kind of thing.
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah, because it's pretty much electorally driven in America. We don't have a popular vote. How about in Canada? You guys have a popular vote, right?
Um,
Or
I should
propose
look
I
a
should
little
say
bit closer as to how it actually works, or whatever. I just haven't voted for a little while now. I don't really intend to for the foreseeable future. I don't, for maybe for the rest of my life. I don't see it being of any value to me whatsoever. Um,
yeah. But I
but
have to
yeah, I'll have to
yeah,
look at that before I speak on
right.
it. So,
I just know Michael, in your country, last time you guys had a budget surplus was in 2001.
like a budget surplus,
Yes.
right?
Like
Yeah,
it was like
the liberals
balanced.
love to put us in deficit, whatever.
Hmm. Right. The last time America had a budget surplus was in 2001. So it's been over like 25 years. And what the pattern suggested to me is that what the pattern does suggest is that budget surpluses won't materialize until several decades later, or going into a new century. And it's always been like that in America because of political, differences, right? But going back to Bill Clinton's presidency, um, our country had budget surpluses four times from 1998 to 2001. But the budget surplus peaked at $230 billion in 2000. After 2000, it dropped to $128 billion in 2001 under President George W. Bush Jr. After cutting taxes on big corporate on the cutting after cutting taxes on rich people, declining economy, and of course 9/11,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and the internet bubble too.
Hmm. Well, that's like a missed episode that I need to research a bit. There was like this whole moment. I think it was in the 90s and the 2000s when Japan became a real problem for the U.S. economy because they were like buying up all the bonds or something like that, and then
Hmm.
the U.S. had to kind of put them back in their place.
Right.
And I'm not sure if like the .com bubble was like a consequence of that, because I have to research more about it. But it's interesting to me how Japan, whatever, kind of almost screwed the Americans over, or they maybe are still there. They are a potential uh, like entity that could compromise the American economy. So they kind of have to be placated or threatened, kind of. You know what I mean?
Right. And also, right. Also, I'd add that Japan also provides universal healthcare to its citizens.
Hmm.
I mean, despite Japan, despite Japan losing its economic standing, like it used to be number two, dropped to three, 4 or 5 steadily, and this was like over time. Didn't happen overnight. But
Yeah.
I'll say this: Japanese, they still produce, every year, despite their economic um troubles.
Well, they're heavily dependent on like the tech sector. You know.
Yep, tech sector, pretty much, yes. Yeah,
Um,
and I told myself, yeah, there's no way we're going back to the prosperity eras of the 1990s up until to the early 2000s.
well, that's all good for me. You know, I don't think that that was like a mirage for people. It was too good to be true, and for us to try and get back to that place,
Mm-hmm.
people don't understand what it was that created that prosperity. It was just nothing more than the collapse of the end of the so-called end of the Cold War, and then
Mm-hmm.
America's unipolar moment, where all of a sudden they were left uncontested dominators of the world. And some people kind of, it seems potentially like they relaxed a little bit. They blinked, like they, because one of the problems they're having with Ukraine and Iran right now is depletion of ammunition. They can't make enough missiles or other kinds of ammunition fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's because after the Cold War ended, there was a collapse in demand for ammunition, and it seems
Right.
like they made the capitalist logic or whatever led to the fatal decision of cutting down on manufacturing because there was not enough of a profit motive anymore without the war to justify it, or the
Mm-hmm.
Cold War, right? So
Right. And also this, I mean, although the Cold War ended in 1991, the war never ended at home. When I said the war never ended at home, meaning like there was always a class conflict between the rich and poor at
yeah,
home, and always been like that. Regardless if I mean, regardless if we ended the conflicts abroad, but never ended the conflicts at home.
right.
So
This
home
is
is always
where
in America. Yeah, I'm just talking about in America. We've always been at war at home.
yeah, no
When it
matter
comes,
how much the promise, the claim is that imperialism will bring prosperity, the trickle down effect to the entire country, and it's never done that. So, like one thing
right.
I'm waiting for with a lot of hope, what it seems the reaction to the collapse of the Soviet Union has been to decide that that means that communism was proven a failure, and
Hmm.
now after whatever 30, 40 years, we are witnessing how give capitalism the opportunity to prove itself the victor or whatever, and it can now without the enemy of communism, it can provide the prosperity that it was denied because of this competitor or whatever. And
Right.
they failed to provide when they had every opportunity to do so. And so now
Hmm.
we have, I'm waiting for that eureka, that moment of realization that everyone who's decided that communism was a failure or whatever, all they have to do is observe how capitalism has failed spectacularly, even if communism is not in the way to stop them, whatever. And
Right.
so that's where it becomes a very simple click in their mind to say, actually, history has proven that or capitalism does not work. So maybe now is the opportunity to give communism a second chance. That's a little long-winded of me. Sorry.
You
Hmm.
know what's okay, see the conversation started to piss me off now.
Mm.
Because I'm thinking about Marco Rubio and all the bullshit he's been spewing. And and I look at the like comments um from Trump supporters, and they really think like communism, Cuba doesn't work because of communism. You know, like they need a whole new system, and we're gonna save them, and then it's gonna be a vacation spot for us Americans. And I'm like, really, really, like this is their way of thinking because they don't read. It's like you don't know what the United States has done to make communism fail in Cuba.
Right.
They were doing pretty good even with the sanctions.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing better than us on a moral level, in a social level, in an education level. Like, yeah, maybe they didn't have all the consumer stuff that we have, but why does that matter? Because
And this was the,
people think here that having things brings you happiness, not like,
right.
oh, somebody's at my door. Someone's at my door. Hold on.
Okay, no worries.
That,
I'll be back.
okay, and interesting. I heard that phrase heard that phrase multiple times, that having things, brings happiness under capitalism, but it really does not. Under capitalism, it actually increases people's chances to be in debt, right? Because of materialism. Materialism definitely reinforces, big corporations to be profitable because they depend on heavy consumer spending in America, right?
Yeah. Well, I
And
think as far as having, if you buy a lot of things, in a way, if you buy the right things, you actually have some assets. If things end up, if you're in harder times, you can sell off
mhm,
some of your things if you don't have as
right,
much attachment to them.
right. And like like I'm not against owning assets. What I'm against is that when people want to buy, big homes, expensive cars, those things add up financially. And even like back then, the American dream used to be about affording a decent home, affording a decent car, sending kids to college, right? And it was it was definitely um, definitely on a one income earner. Like, you didn't need two incomes back then. Even
Yeah.
with two incomes, like right now, two income earners right now, it's still not sufficient. Yeah, because this system has really treated the American dream as I'm sorry, changed the American dream from going from having decent things to like everything has got to be a luxury. Got to have like big homes, um, a picket fence, but it has to be like 50 acres, right? And it's crazy. And American dream has really taken way too far. And
Well,
so
this.
nowadays, more Americans are saying the American dream is to really like go abroad,
Yeah, it
study.
changes. Yeah, that's true. It should. It can't ever stay what it was, where it gets revealed to be an inadequate dream. You know.
Right, right. And yeah, and even, speaking about cell phone adoption, right? And I read an article not too long ago. Europeans, British, actually started to own cell phones. I'm sorry, subscribe to mobile phones higher than Americans did. Up until like the early 2000s, right? There's always been a gap because Americans are less likely to adopt mobile phones, whereas like other Western countries over there, people are more likely to adopt mobile phones, regardless of socioeconomic class differences. So that really tells me that I'm not surprised that it's going to take Americans a while to really embrace a whole system change.
Hmm. That's interesting about the phones. I didn't realize that. I guess maybe they could be potentially like marketed differently to people, or like in. I hesitate to use the term third world too much, but
Hmm.
like maybe a cell phone is a lot more of a necessity kind of thing, a life changer. You know.
Right. And yeah, it just tells me that yeah, so most Americans, it's going to definitely take a while for sure, because you had to keep what I learned is you had to keep inculcating them again and again until they fully understand it and embrace it. When I say fully understand and embrace, I'm talking embrace a system change, a whole complete system change. It's like you got to keep telling them the same information over again with different tricks.
I think
And
this might be a thing about this is I've been thinking a lot about idealism and materialism lately, but this it's what you're saying is what with people nothing can change until there is a full complete mental paradigm shift. It's the change in the mind that is the real catalyst that we're looking for,
mm-hmm,
and it's kind of maybe tricky to argue against that. I would say it's a little bit maybe wishful thinking or expecting too much. It the to really have
Right.
everyone on the same page like that, to have the same epiphany. I don't think that's realistic, or it might not necessarily be achievable. We're going like there may be a kind of way to modulate what you're like to what you're saying as far as a critical mass of people making the mental shift is what we're looking for, as opposed to everyone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right, right. Because it's like this. I always say it like when people stay in a toxic relationship, right? They know the relationship is not healthy, but they want to stay because that person has a lot of economic resources, right?
Right.
And that's an issue I have because I'm like nobody should stay in a very toxic environment just to depend on someone for resources because they control the resources 90% of the time, right? And and like I said, I'm not surprised America lags in math, science, basic literacy, and innovation. It's because of this culture of we don't want to be forced to be good in math, science, literacy, because it's like, why do we need it for? If we're going to become professional athletes, dancers,
Yeah.
celebrities.
Well, personally, I kind of am one of those who doesn't have as high of a value of math and whatnot. I think
Hmm.
the this heavy excessive focus on technology is what brings prosperity and everything. That's kind of
Right.
leaving people behind because all the money is being sucked into R&D, technology research, whatever, and people are being treated like they're not really a worthy investment. So to to me, we kind of need to like pull back on this. Math and sciences is what every kid needs to be focused on for success. At the same time, I recognize had financially, I would be better off had I made more of an effort to apply mathematics to my life as opposed to trying to push it out. You know,
Well, at least my car in Canada, at least you don't have to worry about losing your health insurance coverage, despite paying higher taxes, but then you don't have to worry about the overall healthcare costs.
not exactly in you're right in that for the most part, but what we have to worry about is the privatization of the healthcare by stealth.
Right.
So that's the even if it's for free on the point of service,
Hmm.
we are paying for it out the nose for through taxes.
Right.
So it doesn't it to say it's even for a free healthcare system is a little bit um, misleading because it has to be paid for somehow.
Oh yeah, I understand that. Right. I'm just saying that it's a prepaid system. But in
Yeah,
America, it's a postpaid system. Well, actually, it's a combination of both prepaid and postpaid, meaning depending on what insurance coverage Americans have, they're more likely to pay twice, right? Pay their policy. I mean, pay for their premiums just have on their policies, and two, they'll pay more out of pocket because we don't have. It's not at the point of service. We don't use the point of service of financing, so that Americans don't have to like pay so much out of pocket.
well, it's impossible for like it defeats the purpose of healthcare if you have a health crisis and you have to go bankrupt yourselves and go into debt in order to take care of the immediate crisis. All it does is create the conditions for a worse crisis to begin to develop. It's like a bubble, you know, but like with your health, you know, like an
Right.
acid bubble, you know.
Yeah, and speaking about and I want to mention this. Australia has been having conversations about privatizing its healthcare system.
Let me just say,
Foreseeable future. Why? Because Australia's population is shrinking. Um, People are getting older and older. When people are getting older and older, that means there's not going to be enough. There's not going to be enough taxpayers to continue to fund healthcare for the next generation. So it's thinking about learning from America about let's have a means testing program for healthcare or like a block grant program like Medicaid in America, and the rest will be private health insurance. What is your
I
opinion
just
about
want to say
Australia?
sorry. I just want to say
Let
bye
me.
to Golden Monarch. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry we didn't. Maybe we can cover Massey. He let us know that Tom's Massey was just defeated or whatever.
Yeah, I heard about it. Yeah, by populist candidate because Thomas Massey Thomas Massey is a moderate Republican. He's like too moderate for today's Republican Party, or I should say like too liberal.
Well, I'm not as familiar with the Americans as.
He votes with Trump like 90, at least
Yeah, I
ninety-two
know.
percent of the time. So that's not very liberal.
Well, I mean,
The
not
only
liberal. I'm
thing
saying
he, the only
like
thing he really
8%.
like doesn't agree with them with the Epstein files, but he and I think Iran, but he basically everything else he was voting right alongside Trump and the Republicans. So um,
Right.
I
Devils in
don't
the
think
details.
he's that amazing of a human being either.
Well, I mean, what I mean is like, he disagreed with Trump on like some foreign policy issues, right? True, he voted Trump with Trump 92% of the time. Yes, I'm not disputing that. Yeah, he agreed with Trump on tax cuts for big corporations and the super wealthy. But I do think that he differs from Trump on, on making deals with Democrats. Yeah, but
Sorry, I'm just
Thomas
busy here
Massey is
today.
like
I'm looking at the
too.
chat. So
Yeah, but I'll say this: Thomas Massey is not real populist enough for Republicans. So that's why Republicans figure that they need to find a candidate who's going to be populist
well, I've
and
been
get
doing
the.
a little research on like Ron Paul and
Hmm.
his kind of libertarianism, and I see Rand Paul and Thomas Massey seem to be like two peas in a pod. So would you say that there's a whole lot of difference between Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, or because there's like this paleo conservative libertarian kind of like a pulling, like using populism to pull people farther to the right
Hmm.
in the name of like libertarianism, even though they're kind of not even what they're trying. Like it's like a bait and switch. So
Right.
they sound make a lot of sounds about libertarianism, and then they end up kind of pulling
True.
people into fascism, from what I can tell.
Right. I would say that Ron Paul and Thomas Massey, they're similar and different. They're similar in terms of like stopping like foreign conflicts, protecting people's civil liberties, right? Rand Paul is like a purely libertarian politician.
So Massey's a bit more of a like a
He's
classic
between,
Republican, or
I would say Thomas Massey, in my honest opinion, he's between centrism and populist leaning Republican, like almost in the middle. But Abby's right that yes, Thomas Massey is definitely more conservative. He's not totally conservative where Donald Trump is at, or where several Tea Party Republicans are today.
it's funny because it's like almost you could, if neocon didn't mean what it already means, I would almost describe that as to be like center right or whatever. That's like the new right. That's a neocon,
Hmm.
but that's not really when you use the word neocon. That's because he's like an America first anti-war kind of.
Right.
That's the opposite of the meaning of neocon in modern use, right?
Hmm. Right. And
In Canada, we have the progressive conservative. Maybe he's a progressive conservative. Is that a
I would say so. I think you're right to use the right label, progressive conservative. He's a progressive conservative. Thomas Massey. Yeah. But other than that, he's still populist leaning, but not totally populist.
right?
Okay, I gotta show y'all my food.
Oh, cool. What did you make? What's that? It
Oh,
looks
it's
yummy.
delicious.
I don't know. I just threw it together.
Oh, so you just being like creative today, right?
Yeah, it's what I had in the kitchen.
Is it like a
Man,
stir
it
fry?
looks like, let me see the food again. It looks like from Panda Express. I could tell. I think I had that food before or similar. Is that with like ground pork, green pepper,
It's an Asian dish,
Asian
whatever it
dish?
is. Yeah, I just gotta put the green onions and the sesame seed and a little sesame oil on top, and I'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
You got some rice to go with it.
Yeah, and to answer Accord Lord's question, no, I don't watch too much on Newsmax, to be honest.
I watch Newsmax.
I mean, I watch a little bit, but not that much. You know what I mean?
I watch just to see how they're framing stuff, you know,
Right, right.
But
not for
Sean,
much else. Let me go on
Trump
mute.
isn't conservative because he was a Dem for decades. That
Right.
let's not
But
forget.
yeah, but I'll say this: Donald Trump is definitely a populist leaning.
Have a good one, buddy.
He's populist leaning
Sorry.
Republican because he talks a good game, but he doesn't walk a good game for the American people, especially the working class folks. When he told that I will make sure working class people are going to have a better standard of living compared to compared to Kamala compared to the I'm sorry, a better standard of living than they did under the Biden-Harris administration. So he really took so Donald Trump literally stole Bernie Sanders' talking points.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a fair comment. It's sad to see that even that could work at all. Like
Right,
people
because
think that Trump can just be Bernie and that'll work.
right, and you know what happened? Because the Bernie supporters who were initially supportive of Kamala said we're getting fed up. We asked Kamala Harris to visit the working class rally, and she did not. Didn't want to advance her interests. If she's not going to do that, then some of us Bernie Sanders bros, or some Bernie Sanders supporters are going to jump onto Trump's campaign team
Did
as
you
a
see?
protest vote.
Did you see the debate that Brianna Joy Gray did with ContraPoints? Do you know who ContraPoints is?
Are you talking on the ContraPoint? I'm trying to remember. Is that's with the Indian guy, right?
She's like some bread tuber from back in the day, just a
I don't.
liberal basically, but someone who was like the controlled opposition leftist who gets people to just herds them into the Democratic Party. And yeah, like Sean's saying, Bree smashed the shit out of her in that debate. But what you're saying reminded me of
Mhm.
what the debate, what part of what the debate was about. And Brianna Joy Gray was explaining how the Dems could have easily won the election. All they had to do was pick the right side of history on Palestine,
Right.
and but they just refused to do that. Or they could do like the Bernie Sanders thing. You could do do the healthcare. You could do like the minimum, like raising the minimum wage or whatever,
For
like
living
taking care of
wage. Right.
the working class,
Mhm.
and they chose not to do that, and they left it open to the Republicans to be the champions of the working class and whatnot. And it was clear and obvious that they made a conscious decision to refuse to win easily by doing what the polls suggested would carry them to victory in a heartbeat.
Right.
And
Right.
ContraPoints could not
Mhm.
agree with her that it would have that's not true. She was trying to make it sound like Bree was wrong, that it was so easy for them to win had they just given the people what they were asking for.
Right.
So I just don't
Exactly.
understand. I don't see how that. And by the way, if you're in a debate and like your response to every rebuttal is, okay, but I just don't understand how you come across as someone who doesn't understand what anything, and that's
Mhm.
what ContraPoints looked like. You have to, if you hadn't seen the debate, maybe it's not so good. If neither of you have seen it, I'm the only one
Yeah.
who knows what I'm
By the way,
talking about.
but what does a court lord once said? That person had no clue other than feelings. I hope he's not referring to me.
I think he's talking about this ContraPoints person that I'm talking
Oh,
about.
Contrapoint. Okay, got it. Okay, okay. Yeah, I never watched Contrapoint. I wouldn't know. Like I said, I watched the Rising Politics with Bree and several guests. Can't remember. Don't remember the show exactly. Oh, it's called Rising on the Hill. There we go. Rising on the Hill.
Okay, before they did the breaking points thing.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I haven't watched
That was with like Sagar,
Cigar. Yeah, Cigar.
Yeah.
He's
and
definitely
what's his name?
yeah, I know who you're talking about. The white lady, right?
Yeah,
Very young.
Kyle
Yeah,
Kalinski's wife.
You see what Sean's saying to you, Abby?
yeah.
I agree. You
Well,
got a
thank
nice
you.
dress
Hmm.
shirt today. I'm not sure what you call that. You do look nice.
Oh, I gotta show some leg to get
Yeah.
some subscribers in this bitch.
Mine's
Thank
more
you,
effective.
Sean.
You show your legs. I got some hair.
Yeah. So, Michael, are you a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays?
No, I'm not really a big sports guy. Sorry. Are you into the baseball?
I am, yeah, Blue Jays. I like the Blue Jays. They always had a winning season every year, but it never ever. It seems like they can't never make it to the postseason back to back.
Hmm. Well, I wouldn't really know if they're
Mm.
doing good this year as compared to any other years or what's going on with any of that. So,
Yeah, yeah, but I'm sure you passed by Sky Dome before, right? Rogers Center.
uh, I haven't been in Toronto for quite some time, but I probably have passed it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it looks very quiet. I know it's not too many people attending the event. It's like
Nobody can
vacant.
afford that kind of shit right now.
Right,
I'm amazed how anybody can even go to like the bar these days.
right. You know, it's so funny. I used to think that Toronto, Canada was part of America when I was younger, in middle school. Because I was trying to look for Toronto, Canada on the map, but I didn't realize it was a separate country.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this was like when I was like 14 years old.
Well, that is the thing about in hockey and baseball. It
Hmm.
seems like we don't necessarily have a big enough country or a population to be able to have our own standalone national league, and so we're just sort of there's like 6 teams or something
Hmm.
that just kind of plays in the American system as if we're Americans. It's a little weird.
Right.
It's actually a funny cultural example of Canada being almost America or whatever. We're so tied to doing whatever America wants. Where we're just kind of
Hmm.
we're like an appendage of America sometimes, you know.
Right. Oh, that's a nice dog. Oh, that's a nice dog there, Abby.
Oh wow. Oh hello.
Hello.
Isn't he adorable?
Yeah. What kind of dog? What kind of dog is that?
What kind of dog is that?
He mixed with a Yorkie and
Yorkie and something. I don't know.
Catahoula.
Oh, Catahoula.
That's what it
Kind
looked
of
like.
who?
This on Catahoula.
We looked it up one day. Remember? I forgot.
Catahoula before.
He's very cute though. His name is Dude.
Yeah, is
Dude.
he a puppy or is that as big as he gets?
He's 2 years old. That's as
2
big
years
as he
old.
gets. And
Oh,
he's
nice.
looking for a home. And I
Mhm.
wish I could take him.
Right.
But you know,
What are you thinking about, like giving up for him as an adoption, or?
um,
Uh-oh. Looks
Uh-oh,
like we
we
lost
lost
you a
her
little
by
bit, Abby.
accident. Yeah.
She'll be back in a minute, but looks like she um is introducing us to